Good evening everyone, welcome back to another video with me Andy. Hope you're all doing well. And yeah, so it was my birthday yesterday, and I was actually going to do a fly time video on my birthday, but I just didn't have time. I was kind of out for a meal and stuff, and yeah, I had a nice day. It's kind of weird being a bit older as well. Never really think you're going to get older until actually it happens, and obviously, yeah, it's one of those things. Anyway, today's fly we're going to be doing one of these. Let's see if I can get this one of these cool pink bugs. These are really good, especially when the weather turns colder. And we're going to start off. So the hook we've got in here, this is a Troutline Demon. This is the E320 in a number 14. The bead we've got in here, this is again another Troutline bead. And this is a 2.8mm, just a standard slotted tungsten bead. This is like a black nickel one or a black one, I don't really know. Doesn't make a difference really, I like the darker beads for these. Thread we're using to start, we're actually using two threads. This one's the Microfloss, Textreme Microfloss, and this is fluorescent. It says fluorescent red, but it's kind of more like a pinky red, and I use it for me pink. And we're also using the 8O, and this one is fluorescent pink. This is like a nice fine one, Textreme. What we'll do, we'll just start the Microfloss at the head, just come back a few turns. Just so you know, my next door neighbour was cutting his bushes and stuff outside. I'm kind of hoping he's finished, because I actually been sat here waiting for a while to do this video, waiting for him to stop, because I didn't want that background noise. So hopefully he's done. Anyway, got a bit of fluff on there, let's get rid of that. So the next material we are using, I'll get the actual packet, is this is the virtual nymph skin. Everyone's seen this in pink. Love this stuff, especially for these kind of flies, and obviously various other flies. And now we're just going to, I'll show you that again. I've actually cut in a little taper, easier to tie it in, and just catch it in at the very point, stretch it slightly, and take your Microfloss just down this shank of the hook, just round the bend, about halfway around. And then grab your other thread. I'll just start at the head and just roughly tie this down. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just trim that off. Now what I'm going to do is take this finer thread, the 8O thread, all the way down to the back, and I'm just going to basically stretch it out and put that away. And then grab my floss and come up. I like to have like a nice little bit of a taper on these. They do taper naturally when you tie them, but I like more of a aggressive taper, like a fatter body on these. I don't know why, I just like a nice big fat body. For me it just screams, you know, eat me if you're a fish, because it's fat and juicy, and it might be tasty, or might give you some good protein, or whatever the hell the fish are after. So I'm just basically creating like a little tapered section up here. I'm just spinning the thread every now and then just to flatten it, just so it doesn't snap, because obviously I've never had this Microfloss stuff snap, but you just never know. I don't particularly want it to snap during a video, so I'm making sure I do everything properly for everyone. And that'll do, just like a little bump, a little taper. And now, you just need to grab your virtual nymph skin. And I actually want it so that cut sections on the inside. There we go. Now just start off at the back. And all you're going to do is go halfway on each turn. So halfway on that turn, halfway on that turn. You don't need to pull very tight on this, just relatively loose wraps, just halfway on each turn. Just nice loose turns, no tight turns. Now when I get to this point, because I'm getting closer to the head, what I'm going to do, I'm actually just going to come in, I'm just going to trim a section, just like a finer section. And I'll come round, and I've got this finer section here, and then I stretch it slightly. And that just makes it easier for me to tie it in at the head. So that's a nice and simple way to tie it in. And trim off the excess. Now, so your thread doesn't slip, grab a whip finish tool. So I'm just do a 3 or 4 turn whip finish just at the head, just so everything's nice and secure in there. Now, grab your other thread. We'll just shorten it because I've made it light. I pulled it tight just to lengthen it. I'll just help with actually cut off the other thread first. I'm actually knocking my tools all over the place here. Now what you're going to do is just start at the back, and now you're going to come up just where they actually join, and just wind your thread just where they join, and that creates like this creates like a segmented section, or a more so segmented section on the flies. And then just come up to the head. Now grab a whip finish tool, and I'm just going to whip that slightly just so it doesn't stop or slip. Now for the thorax, I like to use this Hen's Spectra dubbing, and this one is, if you can see the colour on there, Hen's Spectra dubbing, colour Copper DK, which means copper dark. It's quite a nice, like a dark kind of peacocky kind of colour. I'm just going to dub this onto my thread. I'm not actually going to wrap this yet, but I'm just dubbing it on there just so it's on there, because I've got to finish the body first. So there we go, I've got that wrapped on there nicely, ready for the next step. Now next step is I'm going to take some micro brushes. These are the micro brushes I've got tons of them off eBay. I just literally searched micro brushes and got like a big tube of like 100 of them or something. And I'm going to grab my Gulf Thinman resin. I'm just going to basically drop some of this Thinman onto the brush. All I want is like a fine coating. Sorry if the camera loses focus. I just want a fine coating all the way down the fly. Make sure you get like right underneath. So it's difficult I apologise if I'm losing you guys. There we go, there's a nice little coating. And guess what? I charged my torch. Woohoo! So we're using the Gulf Pro Torch today. And we'll set this resin. Make sure we get under there as well. And obviously with the fluorescent properties of the actual nymph skin, along with the fluorescent threads underneath, the way the Textreme glows, this fly absolutely, it really does glow. And obviously when you get it in the water, it's going to glow even more, especially under UV light. Now, as everyone knows, I like to add a little bit of varnish over the top of my flies. So now just grab a little bit of varnish. Just going to brush it on just over the fly. Not a lot, just a very fine coat of varnish. And then all you need to do is grab your dubbing, which you've already dubbed onto your thread. And this, obviously, because you just put varnish on there as well, this will help stick everything down, including your dubbing, so your dubbing doesn't come off either. Now your very last step, grab your varnish, put it onto your thread, grab a whip finish tool, that's a 6-turn whip finish, which will do, and then trim off your excess, and there you have it. There is your it's kind of like I actually call it like a pink Caddis, and obviously I know it's Caddis don't come in pink, but I class it as like a pink Caddis lava or Caddis grub or whatever. But give this one a go in winter, especially for the Grayling. Obviously that's what you're going to be mainly fishing for with these, is Grayling. Nice sharp hooks, nice fine point, which is going to obviously grip the fish nicely. And thank you very much for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one. And I'm going to let this fly dry.